And today it is our very good fortune to have Akain Rowland here from Malvern and Westchester's Scoops and Smiles. So Akain, thank you for coming on, first of all.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
We appreciate your willingness to come in and talk about your entrepreneurial experience. In the bio, and you and I have talked about this before,
Yeah.
it seems to be kind of a circuitous route to get to where you are now, to being the entrepreneur that you are. Can you take us through that evolution of how you got to be the owner and operator of Scoops and Smiles?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I get this question all the time, and like my customers come in and like, I always wanted an ice cream shop. How'd you get there? What happened? My story is always the stars aligned, because, in my head, I'm not supposed to be here. This wasn't supposed to happen. It was one of those things that, I took the longest route and hardest journey, but here we are, and it's working out really well. But like you said, like the bio, I started out in the Navy. I left for the Navy literally 2 days after graduation. I walked across the stage and I left for boot camp like the day and a half after that, like that summer. So I was in the Navy. I served my 5 years. My 2008 came around. It was time for me to either re-enlist or get out. And I decided to get out. I said, if this was the chance or time for me to try, new things or start a family or whatever was going to come of it, like this was the window to do it and have that start. So I got out, and I got out kind of in like the worst time. Well, what we thought was the worst time ever. So my plan was to go to business school when I got out of the Navy, and that just wasn't an option. So I decided to go to nursing school because it was the only secure, guaranteed career in 2008 that you could have. I graduated that. I got offered a job at the county jail. So I worked inside the county jail for like 3.5 years, which was a book in its own. So I did that. The time had expired, and we got to the world was starting to look a little better economically. So I said, okay, let's go to business school. And after I completed that, I went to and got a job at an insurance firm, which I thought was like, okay, here we go. I get to put on a suit and tie, sit at the desk. This is what you think of as successful. Growing up, you see the guys who dress up in it every day. That's in your head. That's what you thought was like that great job. And I hated it. That's where Scoops kind of fell into my lap. I was working. They were going to send me to Charlotte, North Carolina for a contract for 2 years. I was doing audits on like hospitals, and I was going back and forth, and me and my brother, and I was telling him, I was like, they're sending me down for 2 years. They don't have water ice. Like, they don't have Philly style water ice down there. The whole vision of Scoops and how it came about came from planning on opening Italian ice in Charlotte, North Carolina. But I backed out of that position. It wasn't the right fit. I stayed here, and I had already bought all the equipment that we were going to open our store down there. And Malvern store happened. Like, it was just here. So it was supposed to be water ice. And we, set everything up, and we seen that there was no ice cream opportunity wise. And we added ice cream, thinking we'll have ice cream and water ice. And the ice cream just shot through the roof. Like, it was like an unplanned, but it was an adaptive thing. So when we seen that, it was like, okay, we do have water ice, but we're an ice cream shop. Like, it was like what they demanded, what the community wanted, and that's what happened. So it was one of those things that to wrap it back around, is the stars align.
When we talk to people about going to Scoops, one of the things they really like and appreciate the place is the interaction and the engagement that they get there. So my question is, what skills or talents do you think somebody would need when they're starting their own business? Like when they're dealing with people coming in off the street. Wall Street takes care of Wall Street, but it's the young or the entrepreneur who takes care of Main Street. Yes. What do you think the person needs in order to be successful on Main Street?
You know what? That's like the $1 million question, and I chase it every day. I think some of the skills is mastering what's in front of you. It's attention to detail is what we use in the Navy. Whoever's in front of you for that split second, if you just learn how to humble yourself down to that very moment and being present, you gather so much information in that moment that allows you to grow in the direction that you're supposed to grow. Not what you think you're supposed to grow, but the direction that the economy, the community is pushing you to. And when you do that, I feel like you build a foundation because your community is a part of you.
Personally, what do you find? You've been through the corporate world.
Yep.
What's the greatest advantage to being your own boss? What's the best advantage for you personally being the entrepreneur?
I think the biggest thing is that you don't no longer work for yourself when you start a business. I think that's the most like backwards thing. You no longer, when you start a business, you now work for everybody who clocks in and clocks out for you. It is your job to now ensure that your business continues to grow or is successful because you work for these people. Like, you need to ensure that they have a job now. It's like starting a family. You are now the head of the household and you need to work for everybody in that family to ensure that things are done. So I think that's the biggest thing, is that you no longer work for yourself. When you realize that, it's golden.
For a lot of people, starting their own business seems like a really scary proposition. So if you're in our seat and you're dealing with 18, 19-year-old kids,
yeah,
what advice would you give them about starting their own business rather than, locking themselves into a corporate or company job?
Turn off Instagram and social media, because the entrepreneurs we see is not the lifestyle of entrepreneurship. One, that's the number one thing. Be prepared to eat dirt for the first 3 to 5 years. And then after you eat dirt, then spaghetti will come, and then lasagna will come, and then you'll be at calamari. Like, you have to start with eating dirt first. And once you know what that tastes like, ramen noodles will taste good. Like, as you build, it'll just feel good as you grow. But if you start off too big and you think like, I made $10,000, I'm in the money now, I bought a brand new Jeep. Wrong thing. Put the 10,000 in your business, eat dirt, next year grow, next year grow. Then you can buy the $10,000 Jeep when you're at $100,000.
How important is the networking skills?
Networking is free. I mean, it's literally saying hello and smiling, walking past somebody. You just never know who you're going by, who you're sitting next to, who's this guy, what you run, what I run, who I know. So it's a very important thing that was overlooked for a while, but it's growing.
How's the future of King Street looking? As you look out kind of over the economic future, what are you seeing that says I'm in the right place now?
I think right now it's so uncertain. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it, because this is for the students. It's tough for the biggest of cities, and when you're a small town, times that by 100. You don't get as much foot traffic. You don't get the resources. You cut off a few restaurants, and your foot traffic through your town dies by 60, 70%. So Malvern's great. It's such a great small community. It's not going to die. It's by chance, but it's going to be a rebuild. It's definitely the momentum or projection we were on has been chopped, but it's promising. I mean, Malvern community, they never fail. They always show up. I know we will be okay. It's just going to be a little bit of a slower start. Another marathon. It's like, kind of getting halfway through the marathon, and like you take that water break and you got to get your lungs back to go. Like, that's where we're at right now. It's like, I shouldn't have stopped, but here we are. We're getting going again, and we'll get across the finish line. It'll be all right. It'll be good.
Good. Akain, I got to thank you for your time today and for your help with this project.
Thank you.
We wish you all the success in the world. Everything that we hear about Scoops and Smiles, whether it's the ice cream or the personalities they meet when they come in here, they're just glowing reviews. So I'm sure you'll be successful. Thank you for taking part in our series, and we wish you the best of luck, sir.
Thank you so much. I'll see you guys soon.